Just the biggest takeaway is just the spirit of this team. There's a lot of resiliency within the staff and within the teammates, just with everything dealing with COVID and cancellation of games and things like that. So my biggest takeaway from this season is just how much like the brotherhood, really means to me, and just like we got a lot of returning players going into next season, a lot of key players that are returning. So we're just going to use this season as a chip on our shoulder to defend the CIC and win as much games as possible.
And
Tyhier, congratulations on a great season. How did it feel coming off the injury in the Air Force game, going out there, being able to play, and being able to be productive with the offense with 3 touchdowns today?
It felt really good just to be back out there with my teammates. Whenever you get knocked out of a game, you have this feeling that you let your team down. But at the end of the day, we win the CIC, and that's what's important. But as far as coming back to this game, having the opportunity to play against West Virginia, be out there with my team, it felt really good, and I'm always blessed to have the opportunity. And as far as the touchdowns go, you can't do anything without the offensive line, the slot backs, and the fullbacks. They paved the way, and I just follow.
And how was it with Noah Knapp in there today in place of Connor Bishop? Looked like he gave you a huge effort.
Yes, Noah Knapp. Believe it or not, we have a lot of familiar. We're very familiar with each other. Went to prep school together. We're from the same area, so he's one of my best friends. So it wasn't that big of a difference. I've had snaps with Noah Knapp before, so he did a great job. Snapping, snap the ball procedure and blocking.
Final thought: we've watched you play. I remember you had a big game in a spring game a couple of years ago, but now to be able to play in a bowl game on this team, score 3 touchdowns. How do you feel like your career has progressed?
It's like I said, like each day, you just come to practice and try to get better. I just feel like the more reps you get in practice and the more reps you get in the game, the more developed you become, not just as a quarterback, but just as a player and a leader. So, there's a lot more work to do. I'm nowhere near where I want to be as a football player or a quarterback or a leader. So, but I am a lot better than what I was my spring freshman year.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Greg?
So your thoughts on West Virginia's defense? What problems did they cause you all?
They were a very athletic defense, athletic and strong at the point of attack. A lot of times we didn't execute to the best of our ability, but they played hard, we played hard, but they were a really good defense.
Anybody else for Tyhier?
Yeah, Ken McMillan.
Go ahead.
Tyhier, it looked like Army struggled on its first 2 series. You got pulled. What did the coaching staff tell you at that point? Because it seemed like it triggered something in you and you were more productive.
Just the first 2 drives, they were giving us a lot of looks. We weren't executing our assignments the right way. And as far as, getting pulled, I wouldn't consider it getting pulled. Our coaches always tell, all the quarterbacks to be ready. I'm sure, a lot of quarterbacks in our room have played, but, everybody's always ready. We bring different things to the table, but coach tells us throughout the week, to be flexible and be, always ready to go, So as far as that, the first 2 possessions, they gave us, we didn't perform to the best of our ability, but I just kept doing my job, following blocks. I didn't change anything different in my playing style. Just kept trusting the blocks, and eventually things will open up.
Was it difficult missing a couple key players and Coach Davis?
No, Coach Worley did a really good job. Coach Worley and Coach Davis are really close. They coach very similar. And as far as missing players, we had a lot of key players missing, but the guys that fill those positions stepped up really good and stepped up big. And we always have a next man up mentality. So, those guys did really good, and Coach Worley did a hell of a job calling the plays.
All right, if everybody wants to start the question order for Arik Smith, we'll try to get in 5 minutes with him.
Arik, Ken Kraetzer, SALRadio. Tell us about what your defense was playing well throughout the first half. And then and into the second half, West Virginia changed quarterbacks. They put in Austin Kendall. What changed when he went in the game for their offense?
I don't think we as a defense noticed much of a change when they switched quarterbacks. I certainly didn't for a couple of plays. But really what our mindset was going into halftime was making sure we could defend the things that we needed to in order to keep them out of the end zone. The passes that they were doing, I think we were good on the run, but we just wanted to make sure that we could continue to keep them out of the end zone in the second half.
And how is it different for you not having your partner, inside linebacker John Raddick, in there today?
It was different a little bit in terms of preparation going into this game. You knew you weren't going to have somebody who you've played with for the majority of the season, and you build a kind of unspoken bond between each other because you know that if you're not in the place that needs to be, that you need to be, that other linebacker will be there. But I think the person who stepped up today did a good job. Spencer Jones did a great job, and I think I could count on him to do the right things, and that's what we did. And we had a good outing, but it wasn't good enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg?
So did the West Virginia change at quarterback? Did that change anything for you guys? Throw anything in for a loop, or how did you think he performed when he stepped in?
No, it didn't change much of what we were doing. I think we did notice that they changed personnel in terms of quarterback, but our focus is always on ourselves, making sure that we can play the defenses that are called the appropriate way. Because if we execute the defenses that are called appropriately, they won't score no matter who they have in there.
Anybody else for Arik?
Arik, just ask you about in the drive that West Virginia went ahead on. They had a 3rd and 14 that they converted on, and then they scored a couple of plays later. What happened on that drive? It seems like West Virginia really got the momentum on offense passing.
Yeah, we were just in a situation where they were trying to attack us in the passing game, and the thing is, we practice and we want to know what we want to do. Just certain situations, I got to give credit to West Virginia. They threw out some route concepts, and the scheme of what they were doing was very good against things that we were doing. So that's what ultimately gave them the advantage in those situations.
Arik, Ken McMillan, what is the most painful aspect of today?
Most painful aspect is, just not being able to finish this thing for our seniors and people who have worked so hard this year. We came in June 1st, and we've been working ever since then. But it's not extreme disappointment because we did put our best effort into the season, and I think that showed throughout the season in terms of our record and how we performed. Most painful aspect is just not being able to finish it, being that close and not being able to finish it. But we will regroup and do this again, and we will win.
Jeff, thank you. We appreciate you and your football team being here and representing West Point, representing our country. Everything we've been through this year, everything your football team's been through. Last Sunday and Monday were interesting. And despite the outcome today for you and your football team, we're proud and happy that you've been a part and participated in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. We greatly appreciate it.
No, we thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
It's been it's just an honor and a privilege for us to be here, and this was a great experience for our team. We as you said, we didn't know if we were going to have a bowl game at all, and to be able to be selected by you and this great team here in Memphis to represent West Point, to play a great opponent like West Virginia. We felt incredibly honored and very grateful for the opportunity. Our guys are really proud to represent West Point, our long gray line of graduates, the United States Army, and the way they play with heart and effort and determination is the same way that they're going to lead soldiers in the Army, and the same way that they'll fight for the United States of America. So I can assure you that that these guys right here are going to serve our country well, and their classmates at West Point, the 4,400 cadets. Those are young men and women that have made a pledge of commitment to serve this nation, and I'll tell you for sure, this country's in good hands with leaders like them. So we're proud to be here, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll go about 10 minutes with questions.
Okay, Greg, go ahead.
So, Coach, offensively for you guys, it looked like West Virginia took away your dive and your fullback up the middle. And you had success, though, after that on the outside. Was it the Stills brothers and trying to get them blocked? Was that your biggest problem in trying to run up the middle?
Well, we found a few spots in there in different formations where we could run the fullback and get the ball inside. We ran some of the belly G where the quarterback was following the fullback and got some yards. But those guys are good players up there, and they were very disruptive. Early on where we were going on a hard count or on two, they were running up the field on us, and that was, it was apparent that they were going on the snap count just like our offensive linemen. So we had to do something to kind of slow them down, and that did, and that helped us a little bit. We found some spots on the perimeter. They're so athletic, those guys. Those two guys are both really good players, and they were really giving our quarterback some muddy reads on the midline, and so we had to kind of get some other stuff going, and we found a few plays on the perimeter that allowed us to make some yards, and we hit the play action pass there on the drive in the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, just couldn't, threw it to our tight end, and probably if he threw the wheel route, I talked to the quarterback, and he saw his first read is the post, and he threw the post, but the kid on the perimeter might score. They were so heavy on the run that popped open for us, and there were some things, but we just couldn't consistently do it. The last 3rd and 3. We have an analytics company that helps us, and it was a go for it at 4th and 3, but we got 0 yards on 3rd and 3, and I want to kick myself right in between the seat of my pants for not going for it on 4th and 3. It's sad for us too, and I guess had we made the field goal, I'd feel better, but even if we make the field goal, it's going to give them some time to score. So they made some plays. They made plays in every phase that helped them win the game, and give them credit. They made the stops on defense. They got 2. They were down 11 points, got 2 touchdowns, and got an onside kick. They did some things that were very bold, and they did a good job. All credit to them. They're a very talented football team, a well-coached team. Much respect for Coach Brown and their staff and those players. So our guys fought their hearts out. They played as hard as they could play. They believed all the way to the end that we were going to win, and we got the ball back with a chance, just couldn't quite do enough.
Charles?
Yes, good evening, Coach. Tough loss, close out the season. I know that you won't use the fact that you had several key players out today as an excuse, but did it change anything that you might have done on either side of the ball today?
Oh, I don't know if it changed. Obviously, when you have players that are a big part of your offense and defense, kicking game included, it changes you some. But I think we had a really good plan. I think our guys tried to execute and execute the plan that the coaches put in place. Our staff did a terrific job. Nate Wood, he's a heck of a football coach, and he's just done a great job. He and the defensive staff with that side of the ball all year, and I thought today they did a great job. We had for the Army-Navy game and for the Air Force game, we had 40 to 50 players that weren't available for one reason or another, and it was the same today. Now that's our entire roster, but Charles, you watch us all the time, and you follow us as closely as anybody, and there's some recognizable faces that weren't out there, and I don't know if it changes what we do, but those are guys with experience that you'd like to have in the game, but that's not why we lost. West Virginia beat us, and we didn't do enough.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Charles.
Ken McMillan.
Jeff, what would be aside from the field goal decision, what are the things that you would like to get back?
No, I don't know. I mean, every time there's a call and it doesn't go like you want it to, you like to go back and say, I wish we'd have called this. I wish we'd have called this play, or I wish we'd have called this defense. That's just a decision I've got to make there, and I have that choice. But, that's like I said, on 3rd and 3, we're going to go for it on 4th and 3. But when you get 0 yards and there's really a bubble there, the formation we were in, there was an open B gap, and we had a bunch of blockers, including the B back out in front of him, and West Virginia just whipped blocks. They beat blocks and got themselves where they needed to be to make the play, and they did that a lot today. I saw the halftime stats. They always hand me a stat sheet. We were up 14-10. I think we had 83 yards of total offense, and we're up 14-10. So we were very fortunate to be in the position that we were. And we got the fumble late and got the score there before halftime, which was a huge play. Had a great drive to start the second half, and really just weren't able to sustain anything other than that drive. We pushed it down there at the end. And like I said, when you've been punting a lot and not being able to gain 3 yards very consistently, I mean, if we had plays we could gain 3 yards, we'd call those plays all the time. We'd just keep gaining 3 yards. But that didn't happen. We got some negative yardage plays. We got some 0 yardage gains. And so at that juncture, we talked about it on the phones, and I think everybody was in support of kicking the field goal. Obviously, after we missed it, I beat myself up over it, but it's going to be hard to gain 3 yards, probably the way things have been going. So I don't know, Ken. I don't know what I'd change. I think Nate Woody's a heck of a football coach. Cody Worley called the plays today. It's the first time in his career he's done that, and I think he did a heck of a job. And our kids played their butts off against a really talented football team. So I'm disappointed we lost the game, but it was a heck of a year, and I'm not going to let that tarnish my memory of a great season and just a great bunch of young men that I love dearly. They have played as well together, and I've enjoyed coaching this team as much as I have any team in 32 years.
All right, Ken, last question.
Coach, just want to ask about the 2 punts in the third quarter after you score the touchdown to go ahead 21-10. It seemed like you really struggled against the West Virginia defense, having to punt a couple of times. What did they change that made it difficult in the second half, latter part of the third quarter?
Oh, they really didn't change anything, Ken. They were playing multiple fronts. So give them credit. They didn't practice a long time for this game. They didn't have 2 and 3 weeks to get ready for it. They had several days, but they played a lot of different fronts, and so we never could really settle into anything. We knew what they would line. Some of the formations we knew how they would align after a while, playing them all game, and we tried to call plays that we felt would be successful against those looks, including that 3rd and 3 before the field goal try. I mean, there's a bubble there, and really we ought to be able to gain some positive yards there, but they didn't change anything. They just beat blocks, and they did that pretty consistently throughout the day. And talk about athleticism and speed, and they've got it. They've got a lot of it. And so, give them credit. It was just really good play on their part.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Beat Navy.